Greetings and welcome to you. I am Shushana, and today we're going to be doing a reading for the worry what's disrupting the society of worry. Yes, yes, yes. So I have personally struggled with worry all my life, and we could go on and on and on and on and on about watching our parents who have OCD, watching our parents who have worry. Excuses, excuses, excuses. So then I have I'm always learning. I am a Taoist, and as a Taoist, I believe that I know nothing. I always want to learn and grow, remove, add, and there's always room to grow. And recently, I've had a breakthrough in my personal healing recovery because I have found that energy works similar to cooking. That is correct. Think about it. Cooking requires a beautiful recipe that's been passed down, right? Well, just like cooking, there is a recipe to dealing with difficult, tedious, insistent annoyances, correct? So today we're going to work on, I'm just going to shuffle my cards for the reading that I'm going to do after I give you the recipe. Life is as complicated and as complex as we make it. I'm already starting to make too much noise. I forgot that I need to get a cover so that when I shuffle, it doesn't make that much noise. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. I just had to get a cover for the table so it doesn't sound so loud when you play it back. Okay, where were we? So I have found that energy works similar to cooking. It requires recipes that are quite simple. There's nothing complicated. When our life is complicated, it's because we make it complicated. I'm just pre-shuffling here. I'm pre-shuffling here, so it's ready when we are ready to use them. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about my issue that I had in the past because I no longer have it. I had a breakthrough. So, my issue was my mother has OCD and she was emotionally negligent, emotionally unsupportive, did not protect me spiritually. My father put me in danger. He was a severe alcoholic, and I'm going to use the excuse that I learned how to worry by watching my mother struggle as a single mother after the divorce because he was a raging alcoholic that just wasn't doing his part, right? So I basically had adrenal gland issues and hypertension issues, which I've also had a breakthrough from because it's all connected. Everything just requires modifications, simplicity, and energetic recipes, right? But I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take the ridiculousness of worry and the excuses. Well, it's because of society. You know, all these excuses, 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 excuses. I saw a post yesterday about a lady who gave up her entire life and fell in love with a man in the Amazon. And in the Amazon, they live off grid, they survive from the Amazon. So she fell in love. She gave up her entire life and said, you know what? I'm going to go marry this Amazonian man and go live there. And she did. And she's happy. And she's not sitting there using the excuse, well, it's because of society. If you have a problem with society, leave it. That's why there are the options to live off grid. There are some countries out there where you can buy really, really cheap land, farmland, and live there. So we can't, in our journey through our healing, we cannot continue to use excuses like dysfunctional upbringing, watching our parents, trauma, disturbances, bad memories. At some point, we have to take full on responsibility and figure out how to solve these annoyances, right? So I became worried by the most ridiculous things. Ridiculous. Like, I can't even give you an example of how severe my worry was recently in the past and how I've been able to get a breakthrough from it. It's all about the perspective. It's all about how you look at something. It's all about how you respond and how you react. Anyways, I couldn't tolerate my worry. It was disrupting my life. So let's say I got a deposit. A company deposited money into my bank. And I know that the funds are there. I check online and I see the funds there. But I go to the store and I have this ridiculous worry that the card is not going to work. Thinking of the worst, right? Unable to relax, hypertension. It's all connected. It's just that you have to come from different angles depending on what it is. So I dismissed it as, oh, that's just my personality. So then my worrying got more and more severe to the point where I was worrying about the future, worrying about stuff that hasn't even started, worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened, worrying about stuff that hasn't even took place. I had an issue with the past apartment that I just came from because I moved. I love to travel until I find my long-term farm home. And I had an issue with the deposit. They sent my deposit to the empty unit that I had just vacated. And I called them and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I have never heard of anything so ridiculous. Like, I gave you a 60-day notice telling you to mail my deposit to this specific address, right? Which was, it doesn't matter. And they're like, oh, we sent it to the apartment. What do you mean you sent it to the apartment? You sent it to the apartment that I just vacated. So, anyways, a month and a half went by. There was still no deposit. And I started getting ready to do a small claims lawsuit. It requires forms, online, court fees, making copies, notarizing. What else? Signing for a signature, where a signature is required, certified mail. It requires a lot of steps to do a small claims lawsuit. So I sat there and started obsessively worrying over what am I going to do if I go through the whole lawsuit process and then 5 minutes later the check is in my mailbox when I haven't even started the lawsuit. I haven't even started the lawsuit. I haven't even, you know, and my mind was it's always the mind, because the mind is always targeted. If you feel heavily targeted and your scalp itches, cover your head. Cover your head. Cover it with cotton, linen, silk. Cover your crown if you feel targeted, or if your head is always itching, because it means that you are being targeted energetically. So there was this targeting that was going on, where it's like, oh, I don't want you to feel good, right? The negative energy that doesn't want you to feel good says, oh, I don't want them to feel good. I don't want them to feel good that they have an amazing chance at winning that lawsuit and getting double back. I'm going to make them worry. So I started obsessively worrying that if I went through the lawsuit, I would get the check 5 minutes later. It's like, this is a future worry we're talking about. If you're worrying about something that is not today or tomorrow or the day after, and it just got more and more severe, and I just said to myself, you know what? I can't take this anymore. I can't take this anymore. I need to find the solution to not worrying anymore. And the answers wouldn't come. I did some research. I did psychological research. I did spiritual research, and nothing was really clicking. And I just had to um, kind of do it on my own, which is always usually the case. So let's begin, shall we? There was a test conducted on a stressed out woman. There was an article about it that is very interesting and unfortunate. They were testing how stressed out a lot of women are, that in a lot of marriages or domestic dynamics, they found that 75% of women, they found that women were doing 75% of all the labor, and that their hormones were out of whack, and they were so stressed out that even while sleeping, they were obsessively worrying, which does not equate to resting. So, especially during menopause, a lot of women will feel like they sleep, and they're still tired. The reason why is because you're not actually sleeping while you're sleeping. When you're sleeping, your mind is worrying. So they did a test on this lady who was really stressed out. She wanted to see like what's going on, how come she doesn't feel rested after sleeping. And they put all these things on her and tested her body, her heart rate, her pressure, everything. And they found that while she was sleeping, she was worrying about what she was going to make for dinner the next day. And that sparked everything for me. So, where does worry come from? Building a society that manufactures worry, rewards it, and then tells the individual to personally cope with the consequences, right? We live inside a worry machine. Bills, rent, work, emails, ridiculous worries about the future. even when nothing is happening. Right now, the mind is being asked to anticipate the next problem. Even when somebody is telling you a story, the mind starts to wander, you know, and loses attention quickly because the mind is already starting to anticipate the next problem, even while someone is sitting there trying to tell you a story. So, since when did worry become an overtime, full time job? I'm trying to figure out how to step it. Let's start with step one. Not to confuse worry with responsibility, right? Responsibility, worry, they're different. In order to understand worry, we have to understand rest. What is rest? How does that feel? Differentiating between worry and preparation. Preparing is not the same thing as worry. And this step is my favorite. Not choosing worry over our children, our partner, our sleep, a walk outside, our creativity. When you start thinking about how you choose or chose worry over a loved one, your body reacts immediately. And says, wait a minute, I chose worry over my pet. I chose worry over my lover. I chose worry over my children. I emotionally neglected my children over worry. A lot of times, children in the public school system, if you sit down and talk to them and counsel them, they will tell you they get no emotional support from home because the parents do what parents do. They use the circumstances as an excuse. Oh, we can't pay this bill, so I don't want to hear about what Timothy did at school today. Timothy tries to come up to you and tell you how his day was, and you shoo him away. And you say, you know what? I don't have enough. Like, my brain cannot deal with the child because I'm choosing worry. And that one is my favorite step because it transforms into a realization that you cannot get rid of worry if you see it as an entity. I'm sorry, if you see it as a feeling instead of an entity. When you treat it as an entity, you realize, wait a minute, this is something that needs to be separated and taken off of me. It does not mean rejecting responsibility, but controlling how we respond to responsibility. Isn't it interesting how the word responsibility has the word respond in the beginning? Respond, responsibility, how we respond to responsibility. Delay is the trap. When the delay, when there is a delay, that's the trap that creates the desperation, and we start to panic and we freak out. And when we get into this desperate stance, we push away the needs, we push away our needs, creating even more delay because desperation pushes away success. Desperation creates more delay. So when we stop treating, this is the same step. When we stop treating worry as a feeling, but give it a seat at the table, we are able to separate it. It's not a feeling. It's an entity. It's negative jinn. There are so much negative jinn that tries to affect your life in a day-to-day basis. And if it can convince you that worry is just a feeling, it wins, because when you see worry as a feeling, it's impossible to make it go away, because you're like, how do I take this feeling off of me? How do I heal from this that doesn't go away? You stop treating it as a feeling and you start to treat it as an entity. You start to treat it as its own character. Give the worry a seat at the table in order to separate yourself from it. The next step is training the body to calm down. If you tell yourself, how do I stop worrying? How do I stop worrying? How do I stop worrying? You're never going to stop worrying. But if you train your body to calm down, your body wants to, and your body accepts it, and your body wants the alignment, and your body wants to sustain it. Your body needs it. So your body will acknowledge it and say, yes, 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 let's do training on calm. Let's train the body to calm down. The next step, which is the last step, because when you resolve things in the most simplest manner, they are sustained. When you make them all complicated, it usually comes back. And that's why the worry was always coming back, because I was treating it as a feeling. When you treat it as its own character, it's easier to separate it and push it off. So that's why I only have a few steps. What was that? That's like 3 steps that I have here. The last step is laughing, laughing, laughing. Laughing is the disruptor. The interruption that worry hates is laughter. Laughter breaks the loop and soothes your cortisol. It soothes your mood. It soothes your pain. It soothes social bonding. Laughter calms our autonomic activity. Our autonomy is reset and reactivated. Laughing at the face of worry confuses the entity, humiliates it. Laughing humiliates the character, the entity, the negative jinn doesn't know what to do because you're laughing at the face of worry. Turning worry into a character makes it easier to reject. And do you see how simple that is? And you can take simple notes. And next time that you see yourself screaming at your roommate, screaming at your kids, screaming at whoever, you just think, am I choosing worry over my kids? Am I choosing worry over my lover? Am I choosing worry over my sleep? Am I choosing worry over my sanity? You dismiss and you reject it. And you train to calm your body, and you train how to respond calmly to your responsibility, obligations, and delays. When you walk away from the problem, this when you walk away from the problem is resolved. I want to show you which card it is. There's the card that is exactly that. Okay, here it is. This is talking about when the problem is in your face, you're blocked because the problem is in your face. But if you just go do something different, completely different from what your responsibility requires. Go to the park and laugh with your roommates. Go have a barbecue. Go even pretend that the issue isn't there at all and laugh. For some reason, that manifests the progressive manifestation. So sometimes we might feel like, why is everything stuck? Why is nothing manifesting? Why is nothing progressing? Why is nothing upgrading? Why is nothing moving? It's because there's worry there, like a ship anchor that is keeping the place stuck. You take the anchor off and you say, no, 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 we're separating the entity, the negative jinn is behind it. Do you know why entity and negative jinn is behind worry? Because worry leads to rage. Usually, if you notice when you start getting mad and you start screaming, it's always because worry started it. And the entities love to target and attack the mind and the emotions more than anything. And they love to see you worried because they know that if they see you worried, you're going to end up having a nervous breakdown, a panic attack, a rage fit. You're going to start screaming and breaking things and losing more than gaining. Okay, so I hope that was helpful for you because for me, it was extremely helpful to no longer see it as a feeling. Because if you see it as a feeling, you're acknowledging that it's your feeling. Of course, it's never going to go away if you think that worry is your feeling. It's not, it's an external interference. It's like the opposing force is a mafia and it has its gangsters that do different things and they love causing artificial worry and artificial depression, artificial anger, and then whenever you're using substances, they cause artificial happiness so that you become addicted to those negative substances. So if you consider yourself a worry wart, let's do a reading for you. You are no longer a worrywart. No longer. No longer. It ends today. It ends today. And then, for those of you who are not happy with your society, move to a place that enables the harmonious society that you do wish to see because it's out there. It's out there. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. Let's see, should we do, what kind of spread should we do? I want to do a longer spread than a fire pit spread. Let's do the 4. Lately, I've been liking that one. Let's do the 4 directions spread again, shall we? That one really gets into details. So let's take this first one. Manifestation is what needs to be meditated on. The energy from the west. I'm in the west right now. I'm in the northwest. And we have to meditate on what do we want to manifest? Because when we were stuck in the loop of worry, we gave up on ourselves. We gave up on ourselves and we said, you know what? I don't want to manifest A, B, and C anymore because I'm stuck worrying about my current conditions. So we tell ourselves that we're never going to attain disbelief. See? So the worry creates disbelief, and the disbelief creates convincing of thyself that you will never be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish or succeed in whatever it is that you were trying to do. And then the disbelief creates a branch of hypertension and the inability to relax. So if you're sitting here thinking, wait a minute, I don't know what I want to manifest. I don't know what I want to put into motion. It's because you've been in a loop of worry. And as soon as it's broken, which it already is, you're thinking, wow, I can manifest anything I want. Imagine that the worry took over your life so much that you don't even have an answer for what you want to manifest because you stopped believing in it. Honestly, what I feel for this group is that the majority of you have a goal that you convinced yourself is just a fantasy. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna drink some water. Okay. So the majority of you here, you're looking at your current circumstances and you're just telling yourself that you're never going to get where you really, really, really want to be. And that's not true because you can prepare for it. You can still prepare for that, even if it feels like you can't do that right now. You can still prepare for it. Okay, let's move on to what needs renewal from the north direction. What needs renewal? Moving on. I love this. I love to see this here. Moving on, absolutely, because if we've been stuck in a loop of worry for so many years, we haven't moved on. And that is where the anguish is coming from. When you feel anguish, or even like you got punched in the face, even though nobody punched you, that is all spiritual interference. And when you break the loop of worry, you are ready to move on to the next best thing. And it's going to be difficult for you to move on because you've been stuck in that loop for so long that you don't even know how to go forward. We have not realized how debilitating the state of worry brought us. And the state of worry will also bring lack and poverty, fear, worry, hypertension, thinking of the worst. All of those are all negative jinn that love to see you in a position that you could have prevented. From the east, what needs clarity? Oh, look at this. Okay, so by succeeding in breaking the loop of worry, by seeing it for what it is, as soon as you observe the negative particles, they shatter. So you have succeeded in the art of dualism. Dualism is so difficult because you have to look at the negative shadows and the negative emotions and the shadow work. But by breaking the worry loop, you succeeded in getting rid of the problem, of the parasite in your life that was causing a stench, this energetic stench that was coming from that. Sadness, it's all connected. It's spiritual interference that doesn't want you to be happy. What needs growth? That one just flew. Should I take it? Should I take the flying card? What needs growth is the tree of life. And I don't know if I want to take it. What do you think? I think I'm going to take it because the tree of life is what this group has been disconnected from. You've been disconnected from society. You've been disconnected from positive communities, positive people, positive circles because of the worry loop. The worry loop makes you feel like you're not good enough to go out. It makes you feel like you're not good enough to go out and socialize with society. I'm not going to start getting emotional. I can feel the emotions rising. And uh, the worry loop creates unhealthy amounts of introversy. There's healthy introversy and then there's toxic introversy. And this worry has created a situation that is so sad that the whole family suffers, the whole household suffers, even the pets suffer because there's this cloud of worry that was there. And now that it's not there anymore, you're like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do with my life that's not filled with worry? So let's have some fun with some poker cards and see if the poker cards want to make any additions. Any additions for manifesting, motion, keeping your options open. So in regards to the meditation of where you want to go, what direction you want to go, don't be so picky. Like, let's say you want to move to another country. Don't be so picky about what country it is. What a city. Don't be so picky about what city it is. Be open to all of the possibilities, keeping your options open to what it is that needs to be manifested because it doesn't need urgency. Urgency is another trap. You know how I talked about how delay is a trap and desperation leads to delay, and then the other trap is urgency, for the love of God. Urgency. Urgency is the other trap. You feel the urgency, and that don't fall for the urgency because the urgency will lead you back to the worry or loop. So be very open about keeping your options open, your ideas open. There's not just one thing that should be manifested. There's a lot of options. Take your time to look and research all of the options simultaneously while training your body to be calm. Understanding rest. Sometimes we have to reteach ourselves because we've been brainwashed so much by the external world that we have to remind ourselves, reteach ourselves what is rest? What actually is rest? Laying down in your bed scrolling on your phone, technically resting? No, you're touching radiation device. Tossing and turning, thinking about what you're going to buy tomorrow or when you're going to pay a bill, that's not rest. So, really, rest is being silent, silencing the mind, and not allowing the intrusive thoughts to interrupt our peace. Moving on to renewal. Renewal, anything else for renewal? What needs to be renewal? Commitment. Making what needs to be renewed is the commitment to breaking this worry loop. Taking notes, putting post-its on the wall, taking your little notes so that you're not falling right back in because you're going to get tempted. Someone's going to piss you off, you know, and they're going to tempt you to go down to that loop. You're going to say, nope, no, no, I'm not going to choose worry over this. Whatever needs attention will get attention at its turn. And committing to no longer doing that, because the thing is, worry loops creates thyroid issues. Worry loops create stress, and stress leads to inflammation, and inflammation creates other issues, and then those other issues ultimately lead to being unalived. So it's very important to make a commitment to breaking these loops again and again and again, which I feel like this one is good enough. It doesn't need to be repeated. It's like once you visualize it and see it for what it is, it can't hurt you anymore. And when it comes back, you just have to remind yourself, who's in charge? You are. Not your feelings, not your mind, not your emotions. Put your hand over your heart if you feel like you're going to relapse into the worry loop. You take your right hand and you put it over your heart and you say, who's the boss? My heart is the boss because my heart cannot be targeted. Everything else can be targeted, but the heart cannot be targeted. The heart belongs to you and source, to you and nature. With the breakthrough, what next after dealing with this breakthrough? Let's see, what next? What next after dealing with this breakthrough is going to be dealing with the next layer. So every time we heal something, there's another layer that comes. We heal a layer and there's another layer that comes. There's going to be another layer. And trust me, I will be back to clear that layer too. Another layer is going to come forward in the future that we're going to work on, but right now it's yet to be seen. It's like a mystery. It's like, let's just celebrate the breakthrough of breaking this loop, and we will be ready and armed with our full body armor to deal with the next layer that is going to be in the future. The growth of going back into society, going back into communities, and convincing yourself that you are good enough to go out in society, even if you feel that you are missing this, that, or the other. And usually that's a lie. Usually that's a lie. Like, what is materialism? Like, who taught you that materialism and superficiality is everything? And unlearning that. Energy is everything. Your soul is everything. Your morals are everything. So now you no longer have to go out and think that you're anything less, because those were all lies. So going out into the community is going to bring you um, defense. You're going to have to defend yourself from something. And that's the reason why a lot of people go introverted, because they don't want to deal with that. They go out into the community, they feel good, and then they meet someone that pisses them off. And you're like, yeah, that's why I always stay home. You know, what needs growth is your self defense mechanism. How are you defending yourself energetically? Protect yourself energetically when you go back out to the community of Tree of Life. How are you protecting yourself energetically? Make sure you wear stones, obsidian, labradorite, red, agate, golden sheen obsidian, just to name a few, that rejects black tourmaline, that rejects negative energy when you go out. Because when you encounter resistance out in the community, like let's say you go to the park and you haven't been to the park and then somebody just happens to piss you off, that is also interference. That is interference that doesn't want you to come back out again. And you can't fall for that either. Oh, this person wants to ruin my day so that I feel discouraged to go out to the park again. If you learn how to call those things out and push down the meridians, because there's these energies that are always trying to lift up the meridians, almost like taking them away from you. You have to kind of grab them and push them back down and keep them back down. Okay, so protecting yourself while you go out and being prepared ahead of time before you leave the house. Be prepared. Be like, if someone pisses me off, I already know that it's the same entities that don't want you to be happy, because entities follow you. Okay? Entities follow you. So that's all the messages that I have for the Lakota medicine cards and our poker cards. I'm going to put all this to the side and let's do like 2 or 3 cards from the career oracle. So for those of you who are unhappy with your current job, your current hobby, your current industry, let's pull some cards for you. If you're unhappy with your current job, the best way that I can describe worry loops is a violation. It's a complete violation, because it really wants to take over your entire body. It wants to take over your psychology and ruins families. It causes breakdowns. So not only are children emotionally neglected by the loop of worry, they become attacked by the emotions that come after the worry. So when you remind yourself of all of those things and you take all those things in and you process them, you realize how much worry is actually affecting your life. And it is no longer. I'm going to put these back in because I wasn't done. Let's shuffle. And your roommate, your lover, your pets, your children, they will be so grateful to see the new you. And they will say, what's changed? Why is my father different? My uncle, my cousin, my auntie, my mother, why are you different? What changed? And you can tell them, I cured my worry. And you can teach them how you did it, and they will grow up knowing that breakthrough is most definitely possible in a world of pessimism. Okay, we have on the table. Time to put your demands on the table and get serious about what you want. Ask for a raise, a promotion, or a setup. Okay, so this group has to be more demanding because worry took your life and turned it upside down in the past and made you quite the pushover. It's fascinating what one little artificial interference infused emotion can create to devastate a whole household, you know? And then a step worse is when someone is under the influence of alcohol or drugs and then they worry on top of that, it's a whole other layer. So sobriety goes hand in hand with breaking these kinds of loops. So then we have manifesting again. You have two cards for manifesting. This is a great time for you to prepare. I don't really like using the word manifesting because I feel like people kind of misuse it. Um, I like preparing. I like the word preparing, like your next preparation. You have the power to manifest what you want by writing your intentions down and by taking inspired action to make it happen. And we have the beautiful peacock feathers here. Beautiful peacock feathers, and there's this feeling of demand. Like this makes me feel of like, you know, just demanding, like demanding what is rightfully yours, demanding back what has been stolen. Oh, gestures. You may be asked to help someone out, or you may need a hand. Give deserved praise to others, and you will receive recognition too. So, there are a lot of people that rely on you. And when we were in those loops, we couldn't be there for them, and now we can. Let's do one more before we go. This one, let's see. Let's take them. I usually don't take, and there's like two like that, but we're going to take them. Action is key to getting where you need to go. You can't wait around. Take a step in any direction to get unstuck and find opportunities. Taking steps. A lot of us have wasted years in those negative loops, and enough is enough. It is time to take back our authority over our own energy and control what we decide to come in or come out, right? In the flow, take the universe. The universe is sending you help. Tap into your inner power and go deeper to create the purposeful life you really, really want to have. This is exactly what I felt. With what card? What card was it? Of you, see, moving on, progressing, getting your solution in the community. You know, it's like we've already dealt with this. and there's something that you really, 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 really want. And there's no longer nothing in your way. If you have your peace of mind, there's nothing in your way to prepare to getting closer to your attainment. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.